Hi, I'm Brittney Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm so excited for today's episode. If you're just tuning in today, welcome to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. I'm your host, Brittney Ashley, and we are pre-recording today. I always want to say live. Pre-recording on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM in wonderful New Orleans. Get ready to escape the next hour as we break norms and build dreams with the wonderful Addie.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Brittney. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on the show today. We're pre-recording because it's a long weekend. And I was like, you know what? Monday, let's take Monday off today.
I'm not ready to come back from camping and do a show. So that's fair.
Yes. I'll do a little introduction. If a lot of you don't know who Adriana is, I always say Addie because it's been like, I don't know, it feels like 100 years that we've known each other.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Everyone, please meet Adriana, your savvy online business manager from Canada with an impressive 14-year track record to client management, marketing, project coordination. Her meticulous attention to detail, honed from her time in the legal world, ensures top-notch precision in everything she does. I will attest to that, just saying.
Thank you.
Not during business operations. You can find her on the airwaves prior to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams on Negotiating Happiness. Can you remind me, is that 2 Eastern? 1 Eastern
It's
time.
1 p.m. Eastern time. Yep.
I always get the time zones mixed up. I am sorry. I am Pacific Standard Time.
Yes. You're way over there. You're on the coast. Yeah.
Side of the world, the West Coast. Maybe you can tell everybody more about Negotiating Happiness so then they can tune into you live and bring any kind of questions. I love your show.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much for the intro. That's very kind of you. I'm super happy to be here. As I think you have such a wonderful stream of guests that come on your show, so I'm honored to be here. So Negotiating Happiness it kind of started off as a passion project. It still is, right? Where we got to talk about entrepreneurship. And a lot of the times it leans towards the digital space because I feel like there's not really a workbook or a guidebook on how to do it. And I wanted to show people that, if I can do it, and if all these wonderful guests that come on to the show to talk to me about them can do it, you can do it as well. I also wanted to kind of shed light a little bit on the bad, not only the good. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about like cringy marketing and how we don't like that. We talk about, steps that we've taken that have really, propelled us forward in our business. We talk about the failures that we've had that also have propelled us forward in our business and how important it is. So we just kind of want to show a real picture of what entrepreneurship is like. It's not easy, but it's also really rewarding. And I wanted to show people that it's not just for a single type of person, because I feel like we've been told our entire lives that, to be a business person or to quote the word businessman, right? Be a businessman, which is a kind of like an all-encompassing word. You had to be a certain way, had to have a certain type of personality. And while certain things ring true about work ethic and, consistency, I don't think that the rest are true. Mm-hmm. So it's about balancing. So Negotiating Happiness is all about showing a balance, kind of like what you do that makes this worth it for you, and what are you putting in, and how do you honor yourself as an individual with it. So we do end up talking about some really fun stuff too, things that we like to do, travel, or I've had golfers on there. I've had people who like to work out at 5 a.m. I've had people who love to read, and that's just what they do. You just kind of get to know the entrepreneur a little bit better. So yeah, I hope people tune in. We do answer questions, right? Just like your show, we answer questions live if we have them. We say hi to everybody that tunes in, and I really love to see it that other countries are involved in this too, right? We get people from all over the place. So
yeah, I love that. And I think both our shows have so much synergy in between them.
Yes, it makes sense why they're kind of slotted near each other, right?
Yes, and just to kind of touch too on your point there of the average businessman, and like kind of like we're kind of fit into a mold of like you should be a certain way. Like I was actually just having this conversation with a friend, a business owner, and they thought they had to be a certain way because their professors said that they had to show up and be a counselor, and that's what you had to do. No one's going to like you if you show up that way because, there's rules and regulations. And it's just kind of like, too, like when you're like a certified business coach, there's rules and regulations, too, with the ICF and all these things. But the thing is, you need to be truly authentic to you. But I find like when you're getting guided with these particular, I want to say professors, sometimes their thought process, like I love to challenge them a little bit. And that's like what I love to do. Like who said I can't wear, I don't know, pink today. I'm just saying pink because it's on my shirt.
No, but it's true. It's true. So let me tell you a little story about when I started, because I can resonate with this a lot. So you mentioned that my background is in legal. And when you're in legal, especially in Ontario, Canada, you're governed by the Law Society, and they have very strict rules around basically how you portray yourself to the public. So it's not uncommon that, you always have to dress professionally, you have to speak professionally, and there are certain things that you can't claim about your practice, about specialties and whatnot, which makes sense. You don't want to deceive people in any way, or you don't want them to misinterpret kind of where your abilities lie or your capabilities in terms of the law. But that really kind of breeds this idea of who you should be in your work life. And even though I left the industry and I wanted to start my own business, you still kind of carried that through until I had a client who pointed that out to me. He's like, you speak very corporate in your emails. You speak very corporate. I was like, I thought this was the only way that I could speak. Or my logo was very, very plain. And it was not because I wanted it to be plain, but because I was like, well, this is what's going to show professionalism. And automatically, if you show professionalism, they're going to have trust in your capabilities as a service provider. And while that holds some weight to it, I think it is completely out of the picture when it comes to a personal brand, or when it comes to things that we do that are creative, right? So building somebody else's brand or supporting their own brand. So I think once I kind of let loose a little bit in terms of that, I was okay with putting pink on my website. Whereas before, my website was very much black, white, and some navy, I think it used to be. I don't know, just like no shade to any colors, but that just wasn't my personality. And I figured that it was okay for me to show my personality because I would have to work one-on-one with these potential clients. So if they didn't jive with that anyway, then we wouldn't be able to be a successful pairing to begin with. So I think once you get over those fearful stages, or over that idea of you got to grind all the time, right? When you get to have the privilege, or I guess success of maybe being able to turn down some work, you realize that your messaging has to become more aligned with what you want. Right. Yeah. And that actually leads perfectly into what we're supposed to talk about today, about operations.
It does. Like I don't want to say interviewed, but I guess I was interviewed to come in to do like a speaking event specifically on branding and marketing. And I just kind of segued more into like the imposter syndrome thoughts as we have, because you do have them in all your industries. It doesn't matter, does not discourage overnight. But when you're building a business and building a brand, building all these things, and once you have those imposter syndrome thoughts, you're not going to be truly authentic to who you are. And then you're going to kind of wind backwards and be like hide in a shell. Like seriously, this year, I think I've kind of been like, move aside. Here comes Brittney.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, like it takes time. If you're a new business owner, like, and you're listening to us, like, don't stress. Like you're going to go through, it's a roller coaster. It's the best way to describe entrepreneurship, but I wouldn't change it in any way because it's made me who I am today. And it's made me realize so many things I wanted to shift in my personal life, business life, and just everything as a whole. So it's made me a better person, a better mom, wife, all the things. I would say, like, if I was still in a 9-to-5, I probably would slowly be dying right now.
I was slowly dying because I was always angry. I was always
so
not happy with how things were run. And, you know, the amount of effort that you put in for the reward was very disproportionate. I'll put it that way. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I think if we were still doing this with the coupled pressures of, you know, being a parent, being a wife or a partner, or, you know, being, and then how do you not lose your individuality? And I mean, maybe I'm talking specifically to moms at this point. Not that there aren't other instances that would make you lose yourself, because there are, but specifically to my experience after I had my son, I knew that I was not the same, that I became a different person. And that's not good or bad. It's just very disorienting. Plus having the pressures of running a business and making sure your bills are paid and making sure your clients are happy, plus being, you know, partner, mom, friend, sister, you know, daughter, whatever else. It's kind of like you as an individual just gets left behind. And that's probably one of the reasons why I asked this question on my show about, well, what makes this worth it to you as the individual? And while I know that not everybody, a lot of people that are in the service industry, right, that are, you know, service providers, they love to help people. So when I hear that, I was like, yeah, I know that. That's great. That's what drives you with your work. But what about you as a person? What do you like to do? What fills your cup, right? And I think that's just part of the whole balancing act, and, you know, get kind of putting your best foot forward in every aspect, which is very hard. It's very hard to do.
Definitely. And I feel like once you learn, like, I'm still finessing it by any means. I feel like everyone, like, I've had people come up to me being like, you're killing it. And I was like, I'm just surviving. Like,
you'd be like, I'm not feeling that.
Like, before we even came on the show, like, I couldn't even remember, like, I seriously can't even remember what I was trying to, the recorder. I was like, I can't even, my brain can't comprehend words right now. I've been up since 5. My son right now likes to, we just got rid of the bottle, so yay. And he also doesn't want to have the diaper, so we're almost there.
Almost.
Out of the baby stage, my last baby. But it's just like, it's a process even to get out of those stages. So my brain, I feel like, is like I was just saying to you, like, my brain knows to do workflows. But my brain, if it's already on the level of tiredness, burnt out, I don't even want to think about it. I'm more of like that creative person that wants to create pretty things.
But that's also the benefit of kind of running a business that you're running, right? Which is, you know, agency style, when you've got other people to do all those things for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of behind on that, right? I'm still doing a lot of things myself, and I do have help. I do have a team that, you know, works on projects here and there, which is great. But I also need to, so here's the difference, right? Like, you're kind of zoning into what you want to do, but you know what your business wants to do is different, broader scope. For me also, I have to make that decision. I would like to do the broader scope, but my brain's just not picking it up. So that's why it's important at certain times in your operations to sit back and say, okay, I have to reevaluate my services. I have to reevaluate my messaging. What do I want people to know about me enough that they're going to be like, I need this. Hey, Brittney does that. Mm-hmm. Right? Or like, oh, I'm sure Brittney does that because she's talking about this. So just having that refresh is super helpful. So I was just gonna share if it's a good
the whole topic
segue,
is secret.
Yeah, it's Yeah,
Go off
exactly.
on different tangents. Sorry, everyone.
I know. This is the good part. So I had made this growth map a little while back. So this is what it looks like, right? And it's kind of like, growth isn't linear.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
while this might look linear, once I start explaining it, you're going to realize how different it can be for everybody. So I'm just for anybody just listening, I'm just presenting kind of the traditional model of build, grow, and scale a business, right? There's 3 stages, except mine has multiple stages and multiple things to think about. So when you're at the beginning, right, you're trying to build a brand. So you're doing a lot of research in the industry and you're doing a lot of messaging, like, who are you? And sometimes I find that people skip this part here because they just don't know, because they're new. So they just do a lot of research and think, I just have to do what my competitors are doing. So here are so there's some questions under these blocks here where I challenge you to think differently, right? So do your research in the industry. This is where you find gaps in what is it that you can service that other people aren't, right? It's about not what your competitors are doing, but how can you do it differently, right? Like what sets you apart from everybody else. And sometimes that's hard if it's an industry that's very clear cut, but you can differentiate yourself in how you provide that service, right?
Well,
And messaging.
Sorry. I was just going to say, like, real estate agents. Let's use that as an example, because I feel like there's so many agents out there.
Right. But not all agents are good at the client experience. Not all agents provide the information that you need to provide. And not all agents specialize in working with a certain type of person. So I know agents who will only do first-time buyers. Because that's just their area of expertise. They know how to handle it. They know how to handle expectations. So that's what sets them apart from other agents, right? So this is a great example. But see this block here, it says messaging, who are you? That never stops. That's going to continue throughout these stages. And when you're new, to what to focus on is social proof and testimonials, because you're also getting your groove. So you might not know everything at the beginning, but you know enough that you have a proven service or a proven product. So now you're just focusing on, how can I deliver this the best way? Can I receive some feedback to make it better? And what kind of feedback do I want to show to the world to be like, hey, I know I'm new, but look at my track record so far, right?
Yeah. And that's good. Like, I'm trying to get personally for myself better at that. I literally just had a conversation with a client yesterday, and I was like, okay, honest truths now. So I know you're happy, but like, I need to know also, like, do you find, because I do follow-ups, as you know, as we did my whole CRM, and they're like, yeah, you do too many. I was like, oh, you're another one that says I do too many.
You know what? I have to say, like, it's very obvious that you care about your clients, which is such a great thing to be obvious about, right? Where I'm coming from with the CRM, it's just that it bogs down some of the systems, right? It's a little much sometimes, but your heart is in the right place, which is, I'm sure, is what the clients love about you, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of like, it's like, for me anyways, for it to be more of like a boutique style agency than just, oh, they're another VA OBM agency. Like, I think that's where I find it hard. I just really want everyone to be happy, and it's not just the clients, but also the subcontractors. So I check in with them a lot too. Probably get a little annoying, but I just want to make sure all is good. I just want to make sure everyone's happy, and I just know how it is working with toxic people and the clients in the tech world. And I just don't want that for anybody. Like, I built this business for a reason, and I just want everyone to like frolic in the field and have a good time. Not really, but you know what I mean?
I think that sometimes, like, anybody who says that, oh, this is annoying, they probably just don't understand, but that is your job, right? That is your job as the leader, to make sure that things are running smoothly. So it is what it is, right? I was mostly talking from a process standpoint, right? Like, let's just concentrate on, a different way of doing this. But obviously your heart is in the right place, which is, I'm sure it shows from referrals and, ongoing clients and return clients, right? Which is really important, which is where kind of we see a lot of the growth in the second stage. I would say that at the beginning, a website is very important because this is your calling card. And as we've just seen of all of the changes that are happening, and I don't know if anybody agrees with me or not, but Meta is introducing now paid exposure for business platforms. So if you had a wild reach, I just saw a video of somebody who has a business who said she was reaching per month 1.8 million people with her content on Facebook, and now it's down to 1,300 because she did not opt in to pay for the Meta business promotion, which I'm pretty sure when she showed her screen was $100 and something a month US. And I was like, that is not an expense that people in these beginning stages can handle. And they know that, right? So I think they're trying to change the way that their traffic or who lives on Facebook is, right? To kind of like elevate it. But I think that's terrible. So this is a reason why you cannot rely on all these social media channels without a website, because you own that website. You don't own your Facebook accounts, your Instagram, your TikToks, your LinkedIn. That is not yours.
Well, even too, like Twitter, you have to pay for the analytics.
Yes, for sure. So this is what I'm saying. This has to be in congruence with your marketing channels. And sometimes marketing means going out there, going to networking, going and figuring out different ways. Yeah, I love it. If I could do that all day, I would do it.
I think you and I would just be like, let's go.
We're just like chatty Cathy's over there being like, I'd like to meet you. Come. And you know what, though? I did get humbled really quickly the other day. I went to a networking event that was at my local chamber, and it was nobody's fault but my own. I let my insecurities get the best of me, and I literally had to wait for Lisa. She is one of the organizers of the chamber. She is wonderful. And she just kind of saw me in the corner, and I'm just kind of like doing my whole people watching thing instead of talking to people. So she literally had to grab me by the hand and go and meet people. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm like, this is not usually me, but I'm just having a day. And she's like, it's fine. So she's taking me everywhere. I got humbled real quick with that networking event. Otherwise, I'm pretty much chatty Cathy.
So it depends too on the event. Like if you can, like I read people a lot. And if people are like segmented in their tiny little groups, and you've seen and people watch people trying to get into that group, and they're like, nope. It's like, okay, obviously these people just don't want to make new connections. So like,
right.
I do the same when I first, because we're part of the chamber. I constantly I come, I look, I listen, and then I always go first to the people that I know, and then do the introductions that way to kind of like make myself a little bit warmer. But I usually have like a minimum of like, okay, today I'm going to meet 5 new businesses. Let's go. Yeah. That's usually my goal. Sometimes I end up just meeting one person because we end up talking for the whole time.
Right. Which is great. Great connection. Yeah.
Continue.
No, it's good. It's good. It's just, it's one of those things that is also ongoing, right? So, and I have met professional services providers that are totally against networking. And I think that is a mistake. And I think that is going to cost you later in your business if you think that networking is a waste of time. I don't think it is, but anyway, we can get to that. We can probably have like a whole show on that.
Yes.
When you're experiencing growth is typically where your brand evolves, and then you're seeing lots of leads and clients from there as well. And then you have to start thinking about the client experiences, because at that point you're not just stick handling everything. And if you are, you will get overwhelmed pretty quickly. And that's when like processes and SOPs should kind of start being developed. And again, this here, you can see messaging, client experience, and processes are typically like that middle part that people tend to forget about until it's too late sometimes. I mean, it's never too late, but it does cause problems. So when they get here and they go, oh my God, I've got too many clients, everybody's instinct is to say, I just need help. I just need to hire help. And that is the wrong thing to do for multiple reasons. So this is kind of like, I mean, this might seem common sense to certain people that have already been through it. But for a lot of newer business owners, it's not common sense because that's just what we've been told. You know, like once you get to a certain point and you're growing, you should get help. I don't agree with that for multiple reasons. Again, it depends. Have you let this go on for very long? And then you might need help. But at the very beginning, when you are experiencing that first kind of cycle of growth, you need to sit back and think, what can I do to improve the way that I've been doing things? Is the process still relevant, right? Do I have too many steps? Are they still necessary? Can I automate any of those? Can I delete any of them if they're not necessary? And what is my client seeing on the other side? Like, is this necessary to do? Or do I have gaps where the client keeps asking me the same questions? That's kind of like, ding, ding, you're forgetting to tell them certain things, or you're not checking in enough, or you're not, you don't have that one-on-one relationship because you can't, because there's just simply too many, right?
Yeah.
So this is where people kind of forget the middle part. And that's where I say, okay, so now you got to look at a CRM. You got to look at how to manage this client relationship, how to automate things like that are admin, like invoicing and reminders and questionnaires and gathering data and storing them all neatly in one space. And then for processes, do you need a project management tool? Are you at the point where you need to document things and how to do it? Because maybe you are getting ready to hire somebody in the future. And take it from me, I started as a VA. People that are not prepared with processes or that don't even know how to run their own business, they just kind of do it instinctively because they're a natural entrepreneur. You will fail with hiring people, because people like me can't read your mind. Right? So we need to have a sort of system in place, or people like me now as an OBM can help you develop those systems and help you run them more efficiently so that you can get the help that you need and eliminate a whole bunch of tasks that don't need a human brain for. So this is where kind of we get into like the automations, and like, why would we do that is because you want to save time and get efficient. I don't care how good you are or how type A personality you are. A robot is always going to send those things on time, on the dot. It's always going to attach the things you're telling it to attach. There's just a lot less room for error unless there's some sort of syncing problem, which again, tech issues, they happen, right? And then once you kind of figure that middle part out, which is kind of like the meat of this entire second section of growth, you can go back to your website. How do you continue to build trust in your website? How do you continue to put, social proof up there that resonates with the right people that you want to attract? And how do you continue to improve marketing? I'm sorry, but marketing is never going to go away. This is something that you just have to continuously do. Even when you're busy, don't make the mistake of saying, well, I don't need to do marketing. And I've seen businesses that have said, I've never needed to do marketing in the 5 years that I've ran it. That's great. But I guarantee you're doing it in some other way that you're not actively thinking about it. And that's why. Or you just have really great client relationship management right here. So they keep coming back because you have great services and you continue to build these relationships. And that's why you're saying, oh, I didn't need to do marketing. But I'm like, well, you are. You're just not thinking about it in the traditional way, right?
Yeah, there's non-traditional and traditional.
Right. No, that's completely valid. And at this stage is when you start thinking about exactly what I just explained throughout the whole process is like, do you automate it? Do you delegate it? Do you keep it or do you delete it? Right? As in, is this still necessary? Chuck it out. Don't need it. And keep it in the sense of, what do I have to keep? So I'm the main person, but I also have people helping me. Do I need to do that or can somebody else do it? Because we have this tendency to be like, I can do anything. No, you can't. Right?
Yes.
No, you can't do everything. And then once, let's say you have this in place here, which is really important, the middle part, when you go to your scaling stage, and I have to say, like, scaling is hard because one month you think you're scaling and then the next you have to pull back because it was too early, and that's normal. And it's again, growth is not linear. It's a bunch of this, right? Up and down, up and down. So again, you need to think about your brand, your leads, and your clients. But also, we've got this added team here because now, in order to scale, typically you will need a team. There's only so many so many hours in a day that you personally can handle, right? So then you start adding the complicated bits, which is the subcontractors and the professionals that you're hiring to help you do things. And do you make a team? How can you build it? How can you train it? How can you make sure they're happy? It's exactly what we were talking about, checking in with them and making sure that they're not hating their lives doing this work, right?
Yeah.
So again, how can we automate some of those things? Can your subcontractors, follow your processes in your project management tool? Can they get reminders about things? Can they get, who's paying them? Again, there's just all of these internal things that pop up all of a sudden that you've got a whole whackload of admin things that you have to do that you never had to do before, right? So it's kind of like back to the drawing board, like the most important middle again. You see it here. It's like, okay, what's the client experience? And then what's the team experience? That's like another added layer. Can I handle it with the CRM? Does everybody have access to the information they need? What about internal and external processes? What do I need to update? SOPs are never just done. Like, unless you're talking about how to do something specific operationally, like in the actual, provision of the service might not change, but how you go about it, whose hands it passes through, like, where you get things done, what vendors you need, blah, 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 that will change. So then you start thinking about, is my CRM equipped for high volume? Can we integrate all my SOPs in the project management tool? And I hate to say it, but sometimes people do end up switching. As you know, they end up switching platforms because it doesn't serve them anymore. And it's okay. It just means that you've outgrown it. It did its purpose. It helped you get through this. And now all of a sudden you have a brand new business because you're scaled. It's different. It looks very different than the first time you opened it, right? And here's...
Sorry, I was just going to say, just like a brand, we're always evolving. So you're always evolving in your systems, and like it's never going to be perfect. And I find those who are perfectionists, because I am a working perfectionist, like letting it go, that it's always going to be evolving and always going to be changing. And I think anybody listening is just, you need to accept that, because nothing will ever be perfect. You can fix things and tweak things as you go along, because you're like, oh my goodness, I don't like that, that's just making more work for me. But it's just always evolving.
Yeah, you're right. It kind of goes along with what it says here, like on the bottom of the screen, that growth isn't linear, and it's not that you need to fix things. I find that's also something that we've learned from other people. Like, if it's not working the way you want it, it means it's broken. Like, it doesn't. That's not it. It's people forget that you have like 10 plates spinning up in the air. And you keep adding these plates, but some of them are now slowing down. They're not broken. It's just, you've got more to deal with. So some things just fall to the back of the mind, right? Like, this is what we were saying too about booking VIP days in the last show that we did together. It's like, sometimes those VIP days are so good for people who have forgotten about those 2 plates in the back of their mind, to get them back up to speed, so somebody else can take those 2 plates and deal with them while you're still adding plates to your 100%. To your repertoire.
Like me, burnt out sometimes to do certain things. And so like VIP days are so good. You want to do all these things, but you just can't even, maybe you'll have kids. Maybe you're taking care of an old parent, whichever, and you're still growing your business. Like, VIP days are amazing, I think.
Yeah. I think so. And it's exactly what kind of they're built for. They're built for those tasks that just really need to get done. They just haven't been. So with that, it kind of takes us back to what are the ongoing things? And it's very similar to the last one. Social proof and testimonials. This actually really forces you to have workflows on what happens when you're done with these clients. Like, do you send them request for review? Do you check in with them 6 months from now saying, hey, do you need this? So it's all part of that, like managing the relationship, or just saying hi, right? Like sometimes people will give you the feedback without even asking for it, but most of the times, if you don't ask, you don't receive. So that's kind of what that is there. Website, continuously keep updating. I'm very guilty of this too. Like I'm pretty sure we have an event up on there that hasn't that was like done maybe 2 months ago, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go back and update it, right? Marketing for intense growth. When you're scaling, you do need marketing. Like I don't care who you are. I mean, Coca-Cola still does marketing. Microsoft still does marketing. Google still does marketing. And I mean, it's Google. Do you think Google needs to do marketing?
Yeah.
Like,
True.
yes, the answer is yes, but everybody knows Google, right? Well, why do they still need to do marketing? Because they know that's literally keeping the train going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they're not doing it in a traditional way. Like they're not putting out ads in the newspaper or ads on their own websites and whatnot, but they're getting involved. They're supporting causes. They're getting their name out there anyway, right?
Do you remember Sears?
Yes. Barely.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore. But like Sears, like that, they never wanted to change their way of doing things. They're like, it's working, catalogs, all the things, we're good. And look at them now. They're non-existent. Hardly anyone remembers them. I remember them because I'm a kid from the 90s, and I just remember like getting the magazine catalog.
Right.
Out. That was the exciting time. It was well known. But I do remember like we had to do so many case studies on Sears for my BBA. And it's quite surprising how they could be with us today if they just change their mindset about marketing, how they're offering things.
Right.
They could still be around, but now they're closed. And they were a huge organization.
Huge. We're not talking like you and I, right? Like we're talking huge. Did Nordstrom take over a lot of their stores? I forget. Or at least their spaces, I guess. I don't know. I think
Sears was family run. It started off like that, and they grew across Canada pretty fast. I think really they couldn't sustain the growth. It was a combo effect, but I don't think anyone bought it out. I think they
no, I just mean like when you go now, instead of Sears, you see like Nordstrom or the Bay or whatever else, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Nordstrom, or what's another one?
The Bay.
The Bay, which the Bay's not doing the greatest though.
I know. But you know what's really cool about the Bay? It literally starting off with trading furs. True. Like that's how it started off. It's just such a big part of Canadian history. But anyway, we digress. Basically, marketing is huge.
Yeah, our point.
Yes. And also once you're scaled, you get a lot more criticism from people because you cannot possibly keep everybody happy. It's just the way the world works. So the other thing that we added here is value and authenticity. You always have to consider what the value is for what you're offering, for what you're getting, even what you're getting in terms of compensation, right? And compensation can be in many forms, not just monetary. And authenticity, I think if you're not authentic, it'll blow up in your face because look at some of the scandals that are on Instagram right now. I know a lot of businesses who literally live on Instagram. I know a lot of people who look like, they're a personal brand, but in reality, they're an entire corporation that is operating under a personal brand. And once things don't align with what you're saying, it's very easy to see it because you're on a world platform. You're on stage, and people can see, comment. So it's very important, especially when you get to the scaling point, that you still keep your authenticity and kind of that understanding that you can't take things for granted. And I don't want to say curated and on social media is a very terrible word because you don't want to curate it for social media, but I think you want to curate it for longevity. So like in 5 years, whatever you're posting, is it going to age terribly because people are going to notice, right? Is your campaign that you're running now going to age terribly? Like, it's not just posting, it's about whatever email campaigns you're sending out, whatever your trends are, right? I'm not a huge trend person. My goal is to never see people go viral, because being viral means this: you might be in these 2 stages here, and all of a sudden you're viral and you're just skyrocketing past everything, yet you have none of the basis for it. Like, imagine going from 1 or 2 clients to past the scaling point and you have nothing that's the meat, the middle to support that. I think it can ruin a business. And we've talked about this too. I had Christina from the Social Snippet on, and she said the exact same thing, right? So it's never have your business model shouldn't include going viral. You know what I mean? It should be this.
Yeah.
It should be this.
100%.
Right here.
Well, even too, like this year, I took a step back and I was like, I don't really, like, for me personally, I was like, I don't really care to market too much this year, because you know what? I need to step back. I want to fix my website. I want to fix my CRM. I want to move off the other CRM. I want to create better SOPs, because I feel like I'm just running around with no neck, really, some days. Right. And I know, like, practice what you preach when you work with clients. You don't need you don't need to be your own worst client. So we had like Isabel on the show a few weeks back now, and they always kind of really remind you of like, okay, you're not the worst client. You should be the number 1 client, the king, the queen, whichever, and treat yourself like you would your very top client. So making mindful decisions on having like CEO days on how. So on Friday should be like your day to really hone in and fix things or elevate things. Yeah. And like my goal is to really like Fridays to really try to be that day. Obviously with kids, it's chaos. So obviously
it's an understatement. Chaos. Right? Yeah, no, it's true, and you have to do the work, or else eventually it's going to end up. And I know businesses who are pulling in like north of 10 million a year that don't have some of these building blocks, and they're struggling so hard on different fronts. So like money or sales isn't everything, because you can still be pulling in 10 million and you can still be in the red. Okay. Yeah. Because there's no organization, there's no building blocks.
Exactly. And I also want to outline too, like if you're ever even considering selling your business, if you don't have certain things like this in place, no one's going to want to buy it.
Right. Because you're not selling your brain with it. And you can't run a business just from your brain, or else you can never step away ever. I don't care how, like, again, it's impressive when you hear they're making north of 10 million a year. Look at their accounts. They're all in red. I wonder why. Because it's mismanagement. Operations are non-existent. Like, it's not good. And you're right. Nobody's going to want to step into that. Yeah. Right.
I was just talking to a tax strategist. They specifically work in the US, and they're not trained to work in Canada. But I should get their name so I can share it for everyone listening. So we have a mix of listeners, Canada and US. But, I just love how passionate she is about tax. And I was like, I've never met somebody so passionate to educate other business owners and people on tax. I'm like, I love what you're doing. Like, I'm not like passionate by any means, but I have severe anxiety when I see something in the inbox from Canada Revenue. I was like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?
Oh my God. I know. It's
like
the
anxiety.
Worst. Yeah. No, I know. It's the worst. Oh my God. So here's our last bit here. It is. This is what I call it growth 2.0 because it's reoccurring. So you just continue to grow and scale, then you go into cycles. But that doesn't mean that there aren't new things that pop up, or that this doesn't need to be practiced. Automate, delegate, keep, and delete all the time, right? Services and messaging, they're going to change. They're going to change as you evolve, as your industry evolves, as your competitors pop up. What can you do better? You should always be asking yourself that. And then processes, again, they're going to change. Do you have more staff members now? Do you have more vendors? Do you have more, like, how does that change the way that you actually get those services in? Marketing, again, it's going to change. Your budget's going to change. The way that, I was talking to you. There are certain people who get all of their leads from Google, from their website. And last year at the end, I was just so shocked. I just had randomly 5 clients come right through Instagram in the last 2 months. I was like, what is happening? I was like, I didn't think my Instagram account was really pulling in that many people, but obviously it started talking to the right audience, right? So your marketing is going to change for sure. Also, how can you diversify streams, right? How can you leverage the knowledge and experience that you have to diversify? So a lot of the times in the digital space, you'll see people are now into mentorship because they've done it a couple times. So they want to show other people how to do it. Or they'll put out digital products, right?
Yeah.
That's how you can also do that. Your website, again, continuous, keep going. Blogging really helps your SEO. Do it. Outsource it. If it's not something that you want to do, outsource it. This is something that there are a ton of copywriters that do conversion copywriting, and they'll work on you with SEO as well. Just outsource it. Social channels, same thing. Outsource them. There's enough experts out there that could probably do it a lot better than you. So just do it. Continuously go where you know that your people live, like your clients. In team building and training, that never stops. You should never lose sight of who's doing what to help you. Sometimes you'll have issues, just like, any business. You just have to pivot, and you have to kind of go back to that whole authenticity and values and what is the value they're providing. And do these team members also represent that? Because that's important, because you're no longer the only person representing your brand, your team is as well. So there are some important, very important decisions to be made there, right? And the automate, delegate, keep, and delete, I think it's like spring cleaning. Every time, sit down and figure out what's working, what's not working. And if you don't do this, here's the most direct impact. Subscriptions. My God, people will have 60 things they're subscribed for every month. They have no idea which ones they actually still use and not. Or you'll find that a lot of the same subscriptions cover the same areas. So it's a huge waste of resources that you could be putting towards the staff, or maybe a platform that does like 10-in-1 rather than, 2-in-1 kind of situation. Another really good example is when you don't look at your standard operating procedures and you realize that you've been doing 5 extra steps for no reason. Because let's say like a person left the company or that service isn't really like active anymore, but you still do things for it just because you're used to doing it. And you can't always rely on your team to outline or to figure these things out unless you express the importance of it. So even if you're not doing this, automate, delegate, keep, and delete exercise, your team should be.
Yes.
And you should have the trust that they understand how to run it and have your best interest in mind. And this is like a huge thing for people management, is not everybody's a people manager or a good one. And if you don't trust your team, you have nothing. You have nothing. Right?
Yes. It's true.
You just have people that show up. If you don't trust them, you got to change something. You have nothing without that. Because you can't ever rely. You can never step back. You can never step back and be like, I'm going on vacation, or, hey, I just really want to do, X, Y, Z. I want you guys to do A through X. So,
100%. And it's
right?
hard to let go. You're like a perfectionist, like
sure.
I am.
It's not easy. None of it.
It's not easy. But everything that I don't like to do is micromanage. And so I just tell like my team, like, if you need me, you know where to find me.
Yeah.
And then like I do my regular check-ins. To me, that's enough. I don't need to like, oh, did you make sure you got that workflow? Like no, my brain's already full.
Yeah.
My brain's
for sure. For sure. Yeah. No, it doesn't change. And as you can see through here, I tried to color code them so that they're the same, but you can see website shows up throughout. You can see marketing and social proof showing throughout. You can see the client experience showing throughout. Like, this is all an ongoing thing. And the secret is that there has to be balance. So you can't sink in all of your resources in just marketing, or just because here's the thing, people love doing this, especially with running ads. They love to say, I'm going to put in like, $1,000 a month on ads. And it's directing to a website that hasn't been updated in 2 years. And it's like, well, you're just amplifying failure at that point, because it's not a good spot to direct them to. So why don't you try it out organically before you decide to put in all this money to something that doesn't convert? It's one thing to get them to your website, but that's not a client. That's just a lead.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I always say that to clients of like, let's fix our organic things first before we ever touch ads. Like, yeah, sure, we can do ads, maybe have a course and it makes sense for it at that time. But if you're just like, ping me and get a discovery call and you're like, I want to do ads. And like, well, and then I start asking you questions and I see that you haven't even taken the time to like review things. I'm like, sorry, no, like, because I don't want to promise things when things aren't even fixed.
Right. No, exactly. So it's something that people need to think about when they're doing operations. And the other secret is, don't jump to hire somebody. If you need like an assistant, if you need help right away, look at first, do we have systems in place? Can you automate some of this? Does this at this point in your growth stage, does this alleviate? Does this give you back some of your time so you can keep going? Once you scale, then you definitely need more people. Or maybe you're just like a lot of businesses where they just work with subcontractors and they never need employees. I suggest you make an hourly cost analysis at that point to see what's the threshold, to say, if I reach this, then it's better for me and for tax purposes to have employees or not. It's really simple math. You just have to go by whatever your provincial, federal, territorial, whatever the laws say, right?
Like, this is where your bookkeeper or accountant can kind of come and assist. Like, I've just really had a conversation about this. Like, they're wanting to hire a full-time employee. I was like, well, have you talked to your accountant?
Right.
You've talked to your bookkeeper. Can you afford that? Okay, this is just making a number up, but sure, 50K. But have you also calculated the other things you have to pay? So top on probably another 20K. Do you even have any of these systems in place? Are you ready to train them?
Right.
Like, you're outsourcing for a reason.
Right.
You can't even sustain that. And we're just, at least we're like fast on our feet on this end. And we can just kind of read minds. But like, you're not always going to get that as a new hire.
No. And it depends too. It's like, here's the thing. Do you outsource to somebody like you who has experience in various fields with your team, so you get access to multiple brains? You get access to somebody who has the accountability, because it literally, your livelihood is about making clients happy? Or do you, and don't get me wrong, you can have really good employees too, or do you then give that to one employee who is potentially going to take some time, and I'm talking months, to get used to your business, to get used to what you're doing, and that may only have experience in a couple of areas, that doesn't have like the incentive of continuing to win over your business, because there is no incentive if you're hiring them, because this contract, this is why it's so important to outline what your relationship is with the client. And a lot of the times your contracts will say this is a business relationship. This is not an employee-employer relationship. And a lot of people are just like, it's fine, I'll just fire them. That's not how life works.
Yeah.
That is definitely not how the law works. So it's a huge commitment. It's a huge commitment.
I personally don't like that saying, fire fast, hire slow. Wait.
Yeah, it is. It's hire slow, fire fast. Yeah. Because
I am like, so I really like to make relationships with my people on the team. And I really love to know their strengths and really like to know the ins and outs. And I really like to pair them with the right clients too. And I feel like organically, if that's done right, we can be long-term relationships. And if there's issues, we can fix them. But if somebody's not willing to change, even though you've tried multiple times, okay, then maybe. But I'm the kind of person of like giving people the benefit of doubt to a certain point.
Right.
I just personally like, I guess a part of my soft spot is I see the good in everybody.
Yeah. But that might make you a good people manager, right? Like, you might make you understanding. It might make you, again, there's no fixed formula on how to handle your team. I just think that a lot of people operate on the assumption that, either everyone only has one interest and that's their paycheck, or they expect everything that they would do for their own business. And that's also not realistic, right? Like, you're the boss. You get all of the perks. Your employees are not going to act the same way you will for this business. Your job is to make sure that you put out the right expectations, and their job is to follow them. And if there is a breakdown in that, then that's when you have to deal with it. That's the unfortunate part, but it's true. You can't expect the moon and the sun from them, but you also can't expect to do nothing and get paid as the employee, right? It's a fine balance. There's no way that any of this could be down to an exact science. It's a fine balance. So this is why when people say, oh, hire slow and fire fast, or all you have to do is this, is like, no, there's not an absolute statement that you can make that will make sense for every situation. Except for things like growth isn't linear, because it's not.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That is an absolute statement. Growth isn't linear. But yeah, I mean, the secret to kind of having these operations in check is understanding that there's always different balls up in the air, and understanding the timing of when to hire for those. But again, if you're in the growing stages, and you haven't done the bulk of the work, which is like the middle part here, the meat, why would you hire somebody? Because you have nothing to give them to work within. You probably, if you're that busy already, you probably don't have the time to train them. And you expecting them to just kind of fit in isn't realistic.
Yeah.
Right. So turn to tech, turn to marketing properly, turn to auditing your processes before you hire somebody to come in there. And also, I met with somebody recently that said to me, I don't want to upgrade because I'm just like on the basic plan for this particular platform. And I just think that if I can, cut down on my subscriptions, which most of the time I agree with, but they were describing functionalities that are taking so much time to do manually, that if this platform can offer it for, even if it's $20 extra a month, which is a lot, let's say you're already paying $20 a month and you have to add an extra $20 a month. I had to phrase it for them to understand it. I said, you couldn't pay me $20 an hour. There's very few people that you can pay $20 an hour to do the same thing, and they still wouldn't be finished in an hour.
Yeah.
So when you do the math, it makes sense for you to pay for this platform that is potentially opening up all of these capabilities for you, where you don't have to hunt them down. They're there for you to click on, versus hiring somebody to do it manually. And also, how much time is it taking out of your day? And you're like the lead person that knows how to do whatever you're offering the best. It's like, it doesn't make sense hourly for you to spend the time to do it. You just have to go for the tech first.
Yeah. And not if one is looking for new tech, like I always go on AppSumo. And so like what I did this year was really like, okay, I use Zoom a lot. what else can I use? And they had like this company called Sessions. And like, the thing is, it's new technology. So always do your research, look at the customer service, look at their roadmaps. Ultimately, they made a lot of like cutbacks in certain subscriptions, so I don't have to pay it. So my next, like, I'm like, come on, AppSumo, get project management in there and marketing, and that's it. That's all I need right now.
Yeah. And it's okay. Like I said, it's okay to change what you need, right? Do I think that you should think about that when you first get these apps? Yeah, most of the times you should think about, hey, I have 5 to 10 clients now. Can it handle 100 later? Yeah. And most of these things can these days. Things are very powerful. Things are very new. There's a new thing that comes out every minute. But it's okay to change from one thing to the other if it's no longer serving you. So what would you rather do? Just continue down this path where you're wasting time? You have to think about it. Out of all of your resources, time is something you can never get back. The only way you get time back is by hiring other people to do the things that you don't want to do, so you can regain some of that time back. And that's a stretch. Nobody gives you more than 24 hours in a day. You just all of a sudden have free time in those 24 hours, right? Yeah. So it's important. It's important to know when to invest, how to invest, and we've all made mistakes. I'm not speaking from a point of perfection. I'm speaking from a point of experience of up and down. You know what I mean? So
learning as we
go. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're already at time, which is crazy. I knew we wouldn't have any issues on topics. We always have somewhere to go, and then conversation and flow. So anyone listening, please go listen to Addie at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on United Public Radio. And I just have, if anyone's watching, the link here to go listen to any pre-shows that Addie has done on negotiating happiness, or come listen live at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all the listeners, a big thank you, and a big thank you to the UFO Paranormal Radio Network and United Public Radio Network. And we're already done. A full hour.
Thank you so much.
I'm excited for next Monday coming up. We have Karen coming on the show, and we're just organizing kind of different topics, so I can't share that now, but it's going to be a surprise. So with that, everyone, please remember your journey is unique and your worth is unquestionable.